everybody. You're very welcome back to Law Hero. My name is Jen and I make videos about the law. And today we're actually talking about how to extract information out of people. This is a very useful skill as a solicitor when you're in the workplace and indeed for anybody in life. So the first way to extract information from people is through observation. And that's because actions speak louder than words. People's facial expression and their body language reveal their deepest selves. So micro expressions reveal emotions on the face, and these are tiny contractions on the face. They're very fleeting, and macro expressions are those kind of wide and exaggerated ones. There is a very interesting study done of romantic couples and to see their levels of contempt for each other. And it was done through calculating the aggressive micro expressions on the faces of the couples when they were answering questions about each other. So, for example, if they were asking, who packs the dishwasher in your house? The answer may have been very politically correct, very positive about the other half, but when they calculated the micro expressions, they found a lot of the cases there was contempt in, for example, twitching of the nose, moving of the eyes, moving of the lips, very tiny little expressions that they painstakingly added up the statistics around to see the level of contempt in these couples. And then they found that the level of contempt in those couples was synonymous with the probability that they would not stay together. So you look for discrepancies between what is said and what is demonstrated through expressions. So for example, if somebody lifts their shoulder slightly, that would usually be an indicator that they're being dishonest. Scratching the nose or the ear when they're telling you a story also leads to dishonesty. It is said shifting the weight from side to side, fidgeting, or lacking conviction in what they're saying, going a kind of not clear, distinct manner of speaking. If somebody dislikes you, they will tend to narrow their eyes, crinkle their nose, flutter their eyelids. If somebody is stressed, you will see them doing this. You will see them touching their hair, some fast blinking or twitching. This is called personal, there's a word for it. They're almost like massaging themselves that everything's going to be okay. It's a sure sign that they're under stress. Asymmetry comes when emotion is not genuine. So for example, if you smile like this, it's not a genuine smile, but you smile like this because it goes all the way to your eyes. I know I look really cheesy right now, but it's far more genuine. Asymmetry simply comes when not everything is working together. So as I said, when you're stressed, you'll touch your forehead. You'll see some men touch their necks, for example. Women will fiddle with necklaces. Men will fiddle with ties and stuff. And people will touch their hair. Leg cleansing is another one where people will rub their hands up and down their legs. It's a way of self-soothing during stressful moments. And then the other one is tossing the hair. This is called ventilation when you're under stress. A lot of how you point your feet can display either intimacy if you're on a date, for example, and if you touch someone's feet, or it might be just fear. If you're moving your foot a lot in anxiety under the table, that's a sign that you are experiencing fight and flight. The psychological state as well, as in nearness and closeness of human beings to each other, also demonstrates people's opinion or how they feel about you. Bodies basically expand when they're comfortable and they contract and shrink otherwise. A good sign that somebody is on the same level as you is mirroring. We do it when we agree with somebody, and it also helps as well to paraphrase back what somebody says to show you're actively listening. The mirroring is the physical side of that. The other one is to observe the kind of energy in the room. Who seems to be the most powerful person? Who's the one everybody look towards? That is the most powerful person in the room. Also how somebody walks. That being said, context is everything. Some people are more confident in certain contexts than others. Voice is another rich source of information. And if you want to look out for some aggression, you look for some active and confronting gestures. That would be like moving towards someone. Their voice as well would be another one, quite confrontational. The second tip when trying to extract information is through asking. So, observation would be considered the low-hanging fruit, but questions are the most direct and specific way to elicit information from people. It allows you to get to the target of what you want. And that's why, when people are asking seemingly frivolous questions in interviews, it is usually to reveal some character trait or a worldview. And another way of doing this is through compliments. So if you say to someone, I love your jumper, for example, you're trying to get some sort of reaction out of them. It'll actually tell you a lot about their character. Another way people do this is through gossiping and complaining. As they say, misery loves company. Another trick people use is being deliberately wrong so that somebody can correct you. And that's a way to let people's ego grow, which is a nice thing for people on the receiving end of it. And naivety is also another trick people use. Something that is done in flirting is called shifting the window, where seemingly like bland conversation can have the tone shifted rather quick, and this is usually done through innuendos, and I'm sure people know what I mean by that. Therapists use it when clients are being avoidant on a topic. So for example, they'll say, I notice we've been avoiding talking about X. And one more trick you can use around asking is silence, which is giving space to answer or for people to fill the silence. The third area is through comfort and trust. So if people trust you and if you interact a lot with people, you'll find it hard not to like them. And this is called the exposure effect. And what that simply means is half the battle of being liked is actually by showing up. The other area around trust is credibility, which is a very high degree of trust. And how you gain credibility is through highlighting your experience or qualification, showing how much you care, showing how you're similar to the person you're interacting with. You appear assertive, rational, and you destroy counter arguments calmly, you gain social proof, you don't contradict yourself in public, and you avoid being overly polite because it's seen as rather spineless and not something that a self-assured person would do. You don't have trouble in making eye contact, and you're very good at active listening. You comprehend and respond by asking probing questions and showing you understand. It's basically showing that you have a high degree of emotional intelligence. You're reflective, you're able to label emotions, and you're not afraid of silence. You do not give unsolicited advice when you're talking to people. You also don't give a glib reassurance, like, for example, it's all going to be okay. People hate that, actually. They hate being patronized. You ask leading questions and open-ended questions. You don't ask close-ended questions. The fourth way to do some analysis or take out information from situations is through cold reading, and this is by guessing what people what their motivations are without asking them, or who they are without asking them, kind of by observation and by questions, and then kind of coming to a guess and then seeing what the answer is to the guess and then going from there. This is the tactic that psychics use. So what psychics do, or like these magicians, they'll spy on the audience before the show starts, and they'll make some shotgun statements to see how does the candidate react. They'll also use something called the Barnum statement, which is this is called the personal validation fallacy, which hedges on non-committal phrases like sometimes or occasionally. So for example, if you're a psychic and they'll say, sometimes you experience self-doubt, and most if not all, people are going to go yes. And what you do then is you start then to build a case of what type of person you're dealing with. Very simple, but very effective. So in this kind of tactic, and when it comes to doing this commercially, as in psychics or magicians, they need to be very good at minimizing the mistakes and amplifying the hits. So, if something comes back negative, so for example, if they say, no, I'm actually a really self-assured person, they move away quickly from that, and they try another shotgun statement, and they amplify the ones they get right. They pass off their failures as successes, and they pay attention to all reactions, especially the non-verbal ones. So the fifth way to get information out of people is through interrogation. And that sounds like the most invasive, but hear me out. So playing it cool is the best way to extract information. This is because if you are deliberately trying to extract information, people will immediately become defensive and suspicious. So the easiest way to extract information is by gaining rapport through casual conversations and slipping in a question when the person's guard is down. This is also called playing dumb. And if you suspect someone is lying, you deliberately make a mistake when recounting the lie to them, which makes them work extra hard. Another way you can discuss something without being seen as invasive, and this was actually developed by the FBI, was through leading questions, which nudges someone in a particular direction, and basically you give them a rope to hang themselves with. The whole premise of this is that it's more important to gauge the response, which is the body language, the tone, the micro expressions, rather than the answer, because as we learned at the very first minute of this video, actions speak louder than words. So I hope that helped, especially in your negotiations or when you're trying to deal with somebody who seems particularly closed. And I'll see you in the next one.